Uh-huh. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. What's going on? I told you what I was gonna do. I told you what I was gonna do, bro. Come on, man. Told you what I was gonna do. Damn, hold on. I just ate. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, I thought I was getting fatter. It just looked kind of pudgy from the front. Pause. I look kind of fat. I had to suck the stomach in. You know what I'm saying? Just suck the stomach in. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And just flex on them. Just flex the abs on them right here. I don't know. For this video, I might actually just keep it warm. Let's keep it warm. Boom. Matter of fact, we're gonna show off the Doom shirt. Got the Doom shirt. You know, they ain't too ironed. It ain't that ironed out. I ain't gonna lie, bro. This blue suit, I bought this way back. The guy who tailored me, what's my guy's name? His name is Mitchell. Shout out to Mitchell. He tailored my suit. See, look kind of, boom, I'm looking real dapper. You know what I'm saying? Bam, bam, bam. Anyway, let me see. Hold on. Am I seeing folks? Am I seeing people? They can come through and say what's up. I really don't care. Make sure I ain't seeing people creeping. They can always say what's up. Listen, man, I had to get the suit today. I told y'all last week. I was like, last week I'm gonna get the suit. And then hold on one second. Let me check on something. Yeah, last week I'm mic'd up anyway, so we're good. Had to get the suit situation going. Get situated on that. You know, I had the green joint because what was gonna end up happening on Sunday, I was gonna rock the same shit. I just thought about it. I was like, rock the same Christmas colors. You know, my undershirt, I didn't keep it white. See, I said this in the past videos. I was like, I'm gonna wear this green suit right here. I'm gonna wear this white tee underneath. Even though it had writing on it, I'm gonna wear the white tee with those Griffies I had. So I had the Griffies earlier. But then I changed up the whole fit. I was like, nah, we're gonna switch it. I put the sixes on and I put a red shirt underneath. So right now what you're seeing is just, you know, the Doom shirt. I just got the Doom shirt going. So I was like, man, I'm already rocking this, man. Let me put that back on and throw the suit right on top of it. Let's see how that look, because my dress shirt, I realized this morning, I was like, man, I didn't even iron this shit yet. I haven't even ironed the dress shirt yet. So, you know, just gonna sit there and do it like this. But, you know, being washed it here a little bit, I kind of washed it here. So it's a little fluffy. But, you know, I walked through the rain. I was walking through the rain in my suit and my backpack and shit. So that's beside the point, man. You know what you're here for. You know what you're here for. We got a glare. Let's see where we got the glare at. Boom, boom. Ish. I don't even know, bro. I'm gonna do it right here between the lines. All right. Let's see how that turns out. T T H. Here we go. T H. I'm running too big, low key. We're on 232. 232. I don't even know how big that shit is, man. Fuck that. I don't even know how big that shit is. Pause. Let me see. Let me look in the camera. Can you see? I guess you can see it. It's kind of on the line. Next time I'll try to go a little lower. But yeah, we got the cleaner right here. Let's talk about me. Let's talk about my day. Let's make it all about me. Let's be self-centered. Whatever. Yeah, man. So anyway, the thing about this suit is I got a tailor like man, this is like kind of like right after the pandemic. So like 2020 or 2021. I think it's 2020. Because I was still with 2019 or 2020, I believe. Because I was still with my ex. So it was like close to 5 years ago I've had this suit damn near. And you know, my mom's still alive, so she saw it. My mom's still alive, so she saw me put the suit on. She saw me struggling to put it on. And it's like the thing is, you want it fitted. Like once you get your boxers in there, you know what I'm saying? Once you just get your legs and your boxers in there, you start getting things through. Try to get your t-shirts in there, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. When you start getting shit through, hold on, man, my bad. Oh, I thought they're moving shit. It's just a table. It's just a table. But once you start getting shit through, you know, it really like it ain't too bad. It's a little stiff compared to the green one. The green one is different material. I might have to go through my account, find out the specific materials that I'm wearing, because I really like the comfort of the green one that I had. Now this one is very similar to. I'll see. You know, if we have good weather, I'm gonna try to wear it for next week on Christmas weekend. We'll see how things play out, man, because things are probably gonna be a little quiet on this side. Right now, we're getting close to the holidays. It's actually December 20th right now, as of this recording. So the whole concept is like, you know, yesterday you guys saw me. I was rocking the crew neck. Yesterday, if you watched any of those videos, that's pretty much 231, 30, 29, and 28. I believe it's those four. If you watch any of those right there, man, you'll know what I'm talking about. Hold on, let me go check outside. I'm hearing noises and stupid shit. What we got? You are welcome. All right, because I'm not, it's the thing is like I don't walk around like I walk around recklessly. People say I walk around with confidence, but I walk around very reckless. And the thing about that is like I say this because I don't want to walk around here like I own the building. Like I'm here. If people need the room, you can take the room. The last little small study room that I had for those recordings, the 4 episodes before this, that one it's like I ended up asking for an extra hour to use, and they were cool with it. But we're gonna talk about this university mindset. Let's get into it, man. Let's stop playing games and talking about all this extra stuff. University mindset right here, man. You got access to these university spaces and places like you know what I'm saying? This is the way I do it, man. I got access to the university spaces, places, all the etc. When you got access to things like this, how do you utilize it? Coming from where I come from, man, my environment, my background, you know, things at home are bittersweet, could be better. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that is bittersweet. It had as good, it had as bad, just like every other place. So I can never knock how I grew up, but the actual neighborhood and environment, that was bittersweet too, man. There's some good times, there was some bad times. But we was in the hood, and my thing about it is like coming from those type of, household and neighborhood environment, sometimes like when I get access to the university spaces and places like such, I take full well advantage of this shit, man. You understand? Excuse me. I take full well advantage of this shit. Make sure I'm still mic'd up. I take full advantage of that shit, man. I can't say it enough because you gotta understand, man. When I'm here, I get a sense of peace and wisdom. You understand? Peace, quiet, and knowledge. I get a combination of very positive things. My thing is when I'm here, I'm sitting here formulating thoughts. I'm reflecting a lot. I'm coming up with epiphanies. I'm coming up with revelations about my own life and just life in general, whether it pertains to other people or just the universe, historical shit, things like that. History that deals with the family, all these kind of all the et ceteras, if you will. You know what I'm saying? All the et ceteras. Let me unbutton because I'm getting suffocated. Bam. Back to the stomach, bruh. My whole thing is this, man. When you got access to this shit, oh, hold on. Let me see if I got the writing in here. No, I ain't got no writing. I got to go back to the Indochino. My bad. I actually might have to button it because the microphone's going to be flailing all over the place. So I got to be mindful of that. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. It's as good as we'll get it. Oh, shirt. Come on, bro. Fix the shirt. Fix the shirt, though. Gotta fix the shirt, though. It's whatever, bro. It's whatever, dog. It's whatever, dog. It's just me looking down, being self-conscious. Fuck the self-conscious shit. Let's lock in. I get a sense of peace and wisdom, peace and quiet, peace and knowledge. I get a lot of peace here, and a lot of times I just sit there and cultivate all these thoughts, ideas, revelations, and epiphanies, all the etc. Just great, just great thoughts, great ideas, just things that are. Again, I'm low key bettering myself when I'm here in this environment. Everyone has different experiences, but for me, because I come from a different type of experience, when I'm here, it really helps me settle down. It helps me settle down. Like the thing is, I can't help but be productive. Like you see me in the background over here, got the laptop up. I'm running the live streams in the background. Plastic Duck. People want to check that out. You can check it out. Some people just hang out and just talk in the chat every now and again, but it's rare. You know what I'm saying? But we slowly getting there, right? My whole point is this: when I'm here, I feel like some of this stuff is important. I feel like it's a lot to bear as by myself. You know what I mean? Sometimes I try to talk to people on campus, and a lot of times, the conversations aren't necessarily reciprocated, or they don't care. They got time, they have to spend their time studying and doing some other shit. Also, I'm like, I'm 32, so if someone that's like younger than me or someone that's older than me, like an older professor or someone younger than me, like a newer student, they ain't got time to deal with me. So I'm just over here minding my business, making sure I get my work done, and I make sure I utilize the room. If I got it, if they need me out, I'm out. You know what I'm trying to say? So my whole thing is this, right? Sit there, record a video, raw footage, just like this, no edits, just do a one take kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna hear me stutter, you're gonna hear me make mistakes, you're gonna hear me be human, basically. And I want to impart this wisdom publicly, put it on YouTube. However it's received is however it's received, however you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do no professional editing stuff. I ain't got time for that. I'm gonna just record some something, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Record something, keep going. Just record it, keep going. Because my whole thing is like, I grew up listening to Tupac. Come to find out, Tupac would just get in there. He's like, I'm gonna just record this verse. We're gonna knock it out. I'm gonna write another one. Let's get to the next beat. And you want to do all the fluffy shit, like put the chords and the keys behind the beat. Do that later. I'll just rap to the drums. So he was putting a lot of energy into something that was just drums, like drums and bass or some shit. like not drum and bass as a genre, but just like the very skeleton of a beat. It wasn't even like a complete beat yet. He would just sit there and rap about random shit. It wasn't even complete. So it's kind of crazy how that works. But that's also why some songs didn't work, because there wasn't like too much time to cultivate. That's another conversation. But all right. Oh, excuse me. Let's talk about it, man. University mindset. With all that being said, university mindset. You don't necessarily have to have access to university spaces and places. That's what the university mindset videos are for. These are for people who don't have access to university spaces and places. But more importantly, you got to start with yourself. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to rely on me. If anything, take some inspiration from me. Take some inspiration, take some information from me. Just one of the two, if not both, right? University mindset starts from within, man. Starts from within, you understand? I've been, studying up on that little Billy Carson, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say little like that, but just like little things that he's been saying here and there. But my guy Billy Carson was kind of speaking about, you know, damn near the three brains. I mean, it's your regular brain, your heart, and then your stomach. You know what I'm saying? And I've always said, it's God, love, and nature. That's just what I've always looked at it. That's my trinity right there: God, love, and nature. So it's really interesting, man, because a lot of times it's like, things won't be aligned. Like you'll know you're not supposed to eat a certain thing, and your heart is trying to say something else because you want to eat that thing for nostalgic reasons, and then your stomach wants to eat it just to indulge. You know what I'm saying? They miss the taste, they miss the flavor. So a lot of times things aren't in sync. You got to have things in sync, man. Right? But check this out: university mindset. It starts from within, man. People start to recognize and realize certain things about themselves. They start to realize that there is a degree of things in life that they have withstood, handled, and survived. And they also start to understand at some point that there is also a threshold, if not a degree of things that you will no longer tolerate. It's like the buck stops right here. The bullshit stops right there. I'm done. You know what I mean? Some people just stop. So once you start to identify and recognize these certain degrees of your life, past, present, even future, once you start to recognize those degrees of things in your life, you can start certifying yourself. You understand? Certifying your existence as a human being, your soul's existence, the fact that you just deserve to be valued, loved, and respected as a simple human being. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Once you understand the degrees of your life and stuff, the certain threshold, the things where you draw the line, all that stuff, start certifying yourself, man. You understand? That's not to say like if you want a degree and a certification to sit there and be a surgeon, if not like some type of culinary person. Yeah, we want the most qualified people. Don't get me wrong. You want the most qualified person, putting some anesthesia on you and then cutting through your body. Of course, you want the most qualified person. Nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is people are over here chasing the value of that. They don't feel valuable about themselves until they achieve that goal. And it's like you have to value yourself as a human being all the way up until that point. You should always love and respect yourself all the way up to that point. Because whether you achieve that thing or not, you know what I mean? A lot of people feel like they're missing this hunger. There's this emptiness because there's a lack of love and respect and happiness within their lives. And you have to do it for yourself. You have to have it for yourself. You have to do it for yourself. Do you understand? It's very important. A lot of people want these things from the universe and they can't really give it for themselves. They can't make the time to really, it doesn't matter if you're looking dapper like this. It doesn't matter if you're well groomed or whatever. Who cares, man? You have to take a level of care into yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's people who I know that look homeless and they're very mindful of the things that they eat, even when they're offered food. They're also very mindful of the water that they drink from. Obviously, like beggars can't be choosers. No pun intended. No pun intended. No disrespect intended. But there's people who are very mindful and disciplined in that way. And you have to start applying the same thing within yourself and for yourself. You understand? I don't want anyone placing any value on themselves based off of a higher wage, finally new clothes, finally new car, finally new job, the job that they wanted, finally a specific type of wife, you know what I mean? Whatever. All that stuff, man, don't place the value on that. Place the value on who you are as a human being. Don't lose sight of the fact that you might have been the type of person to give up your seat to the old lady at the front of the bus, etc. You know what I mean? The pregnant lady, whatever. There's a very minute value to who you are, and it should be highlighted. And the only person who can recognize that is you and yourself. Start recognizing that, start loving that, start nurturing that. Really delve into the greatest version of yourself, the greatest, most positive version of yourself, no ego included. So when I say university mindset, that's all I'm talking about. It's like you don't have to go to school. You don't have to have access to these spaces like this. You can really do it within yourself. There's people within your small town, maybe even your village right now, who are sitting there like trying to wonder a little bit about themselves, and they don't really recognize that they should be loving themselves. Like I said, you don't have to be egotistical. Like, yeah, I should love myself because I've been through this, then the third. Yeah, I respect myself because I've been through this, that, and the third, and I'm not tolerating no more bullshit. You can say that all you want, and it can be egotistical, but you have to come from it from a positive perspective, a very functional and forward-thinking perspective that doesn't necessarily erase the past, but is still observing it. You know what I'm saying? Observing it the same way an adult would observe a child. An adult will observe a child in the sense like, yeah, I have more power than this person. I'm not going to exercise it in the worst way just to put them in their place. But I recognize I have this power. I'm going to nurture it, but I'm also going to be mindful of how I'm, dealing with this. So your past could have been chaotic and very, you know what I'm saying? Chaotic and very, I lost the word. I lost the word right there. Tumultuous, you know what I'm saying? Turmoil, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's funny because I was thinking about this. Anyway, that's my university mindset spiel. I was thinking about this because I was like, if you look at, like, I'll give an example like this, right? In boxing, you have the heavyweights. You got the light heavyweights, a little bit below that, the cruiserweights, and then you got like the middleweights. So it's like, oh, these are like the middleweight people. Now let's go to the bottom. You got the lightweights. Below the lightweights, you have like straw weights, bantam weights. You know what I mean? Like just lighter things, junior lightweights, and then you get this welterweights. What the fuck is a welter? So like a welterweight is like something that's like, they're around like 140, 147, and it's like they're recognized as some of the most balanced individuals, but also like at any given time things can get There's a thing that we use in the stock market. I forget what it's called, but I don't know if tumultuous is the right word. But basically, that's what I thought about. It was like volatile or something. It was like volatile or tumultuous. Like there's something about welterweights where like things can get really. It's perceived as light, but it can get really heavy at some point. Some shit like that. But I would urge you guys to look that up. I don't want to butcher it, but that's how I remember it, or that's how I recall it. Let's stop messing around, man. Let's get to the topic at hand here. Let's get to the topic at hand. Here we go, man. Wrote this down. It's actually a note. Had it, deep in my phone's notes. And I was like, let's resurrect a couple of these. Let's see if we can expound and get a couple of, some commentary on this. Let's see if we can make that happen. TTH, 232, man. The Truancy Hour, 232, man. If you in here, man, you've been tapped in. Shout out to you. Really simple, man. I said work, grind, or party. I should put an and symbol. Hold on. I'll do a slash. Work, grind, or party. Now, when I say grind, because, there's a lot of different slang synonyms, if you will, for grind. Specifically for grind, I'm saying like grinding it out at work, grinding it out with work hours, grinding it out with hustling, buying and flipping things, constantly making profit. Talking about grinding it out just like work-related grind. So I'm using work and grind synonymously here. And then the opposition or the comparison would be work or grind and party. So that's what we got. And we'll keep it simple. We'll just go work or party. Work or party. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see it that well. I'm going to slowly walk up to the phone camera. Let's see how we looking. Also, like we had you can barely see it, damn. But yeah, work or party. I do want to say too, man, like I was upset because I had did a 50-minute recording and then it kind of got cut out midway. But I did a little mic check earlier. I'm gonna do a lot more mic checks and make sure my positioning is good for my the mic is right here, but the thing that it's docked on, like the thing that's inside the actual port, it's been having issues. So we'll see, man. I've been having great mic problems. I had a good mic feedback last night, and that was good. So, and that was in the rain. That was like in the middle of the rain. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, work or party, man. Work or party. Really interesting here, man. The first note here, all it says is grinding earlier in life, opposed to partying and having fun. Grinding earlier in life, opposed to partying and having fun. I don't know, man. I can really only speak for myself on this one. I mean, everyone's a little different, but I will tell you in a second or soon enough. I'll tell you soon enough what I've heard from other people. But for myself, man, I place a lot of pressure on myself. No one put pressure on me but myself. It's kind of just who I am at the end of the day. Now you can argue that I was formulated, if not, I was raised a certain way. You know what I mean? Like I was raised a certain way, I was brought up a certain way, so maybe that's why I put pressure on myself. We can go to the fact that like my dad raised me a certain way to learn letters, alphabet, spelling, and vocabulary. So my vocabulary was on point. Like I used to sit there, I used to learn the alphabet. I had a hard time learning the alphabet when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So then he started me in kindergarten late at 6 years old because I couldn't figure it out by 5. I had some other issues at 5, like I didn't know how to wipe my ass. I could barely do like simple shit. Like it's funny, I'm very hygienic now, but at the same time, um, a lot of that comes from just like growing up, like just having trouble coordinating hygiene wise, like brushing my teeth. And you know what I'm saying? I was the type of kid that like I didn't understand what to do with the toothpaste. So like I would see people have like a cup of water and then swish it out and then spit the toothpaste out. I thought that you would just like, you put the water in your mouth with the toothpaste and you just swallow it. So I was just sitting there swallowing toothpaste. Pause. I didn't know. So, it was just like certain things just weren't coordinated with me. But like I said, some common sense was just beaten into me as a kid. You know what I'm saying? I'd get my ass whooped for like spelling things wrong, pronouncing things wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I'll get hands put on me because I was such a slow learner, and I started learning fast. I used to get hands put on me because I was tying my shoes slow, and I started learning fast. I got hands put on me because I was doing my hygiene kind of stuff slow, and I started learning how to wipe my ass faster, learning how to clean myself faster, just shit like that. You know what I mean? I got hands put on me because one time at dinner, I'm eating like a plate of food, and like I just got full at some point. But then they're like, you can't leave the table till you finish the food. You're not wasting any food. Got my ass whipped because I couldn't finish my food. And I started eating fast. I started learning how to eat fast. So that's just me, man. That's just said my upbringing. Like, do I feel bad about it? Not really, because I really like the result of who I am right now. Do I think it's the right thing to do? I don't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do. I don't think you're supposed to nurture kids that are having. I don't think you're supposed to nurture kids that are struggling at anything, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I also, you don't want to overly nurture that bullshit, but you also don't want to be overly rough about that bullshit. I think there's a level of balance that I could have been met with, but I don't think I ever was met with the balance. It was always very rough. So you can say that that's one of the reasons why when I apply myself to anything, I just have to go for it. I'm just like, listen, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I just have to dive deep into it and then really apply myself just to get better at it. That's what I was thinking, man. Just really apply myself and really get better at it. Really, you understand? That's just what I thought about mentally. It's really interesting because I say this because I wasn't making a dime off of boxing. I wasn't making a dime off of music. And here I was, in my, preteen, teenage years, just boxing every day, training every day, just training, boxing, just thinking like once I get to that professional level, this is the ticket. And there's nothing wrong with thinking that way because I think if certain people apply themselves early, it'll pay off in the end. Just the actual roadmap didn't make sense because during that time period, I even asked my coaches, like, do I get paid for these amateur fights? And I was like, damn, I just want to go pro because I just want to get paid. I just want to make some money because the thing about it was every now and again, like at least every other week in the house, we would just be so poor and broke. Like some days I would just be skipping meals. I would just be skipping meals. Like, man, fuck this, man. I'm not even gonna have breakfast. I'm gonna just be skipping meals so someone else can eat. And there's no way a child should be thinking that way. There's no way a teenager should be thinking that way. If anything, the elders in my house wanted me to eat. Mom, grandpa, dad, they wanted me to eat. And I just pretend like I ate already. You know? That's the funny thing about it is like we had a faucet. So it's like the faucet where you could just run water on a plate that's already clean. Act like you ate some shit. You know? I was acting like I ate already. Hold on, man. The other thing about that is this. What was I gonna say? I was applying myself every day at boxing. I was still going to training, even like not having too much to eat that day. But the water was running. That's what I was grateful for. You know what I'm saying? I was still drinking water out the sink. We had some clean water up in Seattle, man. So water out the sink wasn't bad. Um, yeah, just drink some water and hold it down. My other thing about it was this, man. It's like I started doing music later on. You're just creating the songs, thinking someone's gonna find it. People play it. People found it. They liked it. They didn't like it. Whatever. But I didn't get a dime from each play. I wasn't getting like, I didn't have the publishing right, like the way I do now, where I have like I'm not putting stuff out there until it's published. So that way, if you play it, you love it, you hate it. Some people will play shit just to be haters, and I still get paid. That's the funny thing about it. Some people want to observe and listen to their music, like, hey, I need some shit that I might hey, he makes music, let's listen to that shit. So whether you're observing it from like a curious perspective, a hating perspective, and more importantly, like if you're listening from a loving perspective, because I know a few people that actually listen to my music, which is really dope. So shout out to them. And I get paid every time you guys play it. I throw in my, you know what I'm saying? Everything from throwing my ISRCs and shit like that on each track or whatever. All that stuff, man. The UPC codes on the Bandcamp, like all of that is there, and then it kind of gets tracked. Anyone that finds the stuff on Spotify, anyone that finds the music on any other streaming network, all that stuff kind of comes forward and gets collected damn near. So people just find the stuff. Sometimes I look at Spotify and I look at the plays there, and I forget about the people who play the stuff on all their streaming platforms, if not my Bandcamp. I got rid of the SoundCloud. I probably should bring it back because most people still use the SoundCloud. So if I make it, I don't know. If I make it again, I might throw it back on there. But the thing is, I would have to throw on the ISRCs and whatnot. SoundCloud is just very convenient. I just don't remember. I feel like things became a limit on there, but I'm not sure. So we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, I wasn't really making money on a lot of these things that I applied myself to. I would just work. Now, mind you, this is from the age of like 12 up until about 18, 19, because I would go from like 12 to 16, I was boxing. And then from about 16 to 18, 19-ish, I was getting deep into like the music and writing stuff. But I don't know if we really got in the studio like that till later on. We started finally getting the equipment and making shit happen. But we started to finally get the hang of stuff, getting on a roll of things, and making things happen. But it took a minute. It really took a minute. Really took a minute. I even had what always cracked me up was like I had a friend that never recorded anything and would only just practice, practice, practice. All she did was practice. And she had the nerve to listen to my shit and say, like, yeah, it sounds very amateurish. And the thing was, I appreciated that because I was like, that's cool. Because that lets me know, like, I could just step it up. But on the other hand, it's like, I don't let too many people tell me about stuff that they're not necessarily doing themselves or executing themselves either. They're not even trying that hard. People are putting doubt on themselves, and people, I run into people a lot of times, and this is in the work process of things. People will look down upon themselves all the time for like what's limiting them and the reason why they're not caught up on stuff. I was like, I'd rather just make it happen. You understand? People might find this video and be like, man, this is not very professional. It's a vertical video. He's got a suit on. He doesn't even have the undershirt right underneath it. He has a unironed MF Doom shirt. And I'm like, who cares? This is what I do. This is how I do things, man. You understand? Some videos out here will sit there and get 1 million views, if not 500,000 views, and it's just some random video of someone throwing a basketball around or someone missing a shot. That's not to say it's an amateur shit, but amateur shit gets love. You know why? Because there is a proximity to things that we relate to. One thing about it is like everyone loves a lot of rappers and a lot of people's first albums, a lot of musicians' first albums, because there's an energy that's in it, and there's like a common ground of things just being like very hungry. A lot of people relate to hunger. A lot of, and when I say the hunger, it's like the want for things. A lot of people are being fed really well every day. They're eating great every day. They're doing decent. They can get a coffee every day. They're doing not too bad, if we're telling the truth here. But they're hungry. Like they want something. They want fame. They want recognition. They want an extra payday. They're probably even driven by greed. Some people have that hunger that doesn't quit. They just want to keep achieving. They want to be looked at as achievers. You know what I mean? Some people have hungers for different things. Unless you've had the hunger to just exist, I don't know if I relate to that. So sometimes I understand the hunger of getting paid and just existing and being peaceful and just being in a different environment. And sometimes you're just navigating through some shit. People like that hungry, this is the end of my life thing. Danny Brown did Triple X, so he was 30 years old. When Danny Brown did Triple X, he was 30 years old. That's why it's Triple X, 30. X being the Roman numeral for 10. But in that album, everyone said he was the hungriest. But I was like, it's true that he was hungry, but at the same time, he's been rapping since he was like what, a kid. But like on a professional level, he's been doing it since he was like in early 20s, if not late teens, to my understanding. Probably more so early 20s. So he's been in the game for a while. That's not to say he wasn't getting paid, but he was at a point where it was like, I'm only getting paid so much, but I'm also like using so much of these drugs. And he even said it at the end of the album where it's like he's scared to commit suicide, so he'd rather take them drugs and hopefully that gets him out the door. But everything kind of worked itself out. And everybody's like, yeah, he's just not as hungry anymore. I was like, so you only are satisfied with artists when they're hungry and they're at their lowest points? You want people at their worst. People want to see people at their worst. There's a difference of seeing someone at their worst and their most driven. So when I say work or party, it's like you got to ask yourself, like, some people are avoiding the party just to work because they are at their hungriest. Some people are just constantly driven. You understand? Some people are constantly driven for reasons of greed. Some people are constantly driven for reasons of just fame and satisfaction of just being known for some shit. Some people just want to be known for some shit. That's what they're driven to do. They want to be influencers. They want to be known. I've talked to people who sat there and just said, I want to be a really great influencer. I want to influence at least 1 million people. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Because just simply talking to this person is a headache already. I was like, well, imagine if we were learning and listening to you. But see, people probably feel the same way about me. There's a constantness about me that probably isn't really motivating to some people. It's like, hey, he seems content. He seems very content. And it's like, I refuse to be in that mindset where, like, I remember, because you got to understand, when I was 12 years old, I would go to the boxing gym every day because there was no way that they would hire a 12-year-old at McDonald's. I was trying to work at McDonald's at 12. They said, you got to be at least 14, maybe 16. I said, damn, I got to wait 2 years to get hired. So I guess I'm going to just log in and train right now. Training in boxing. By the time I got to 14, 15, nobody still wanted to hire me. By then, I was like, man, fuck all this. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to do the music thing. Let's see if we can make something happen with that. At least we burn some CDs, sell the mixtapes. Things just weren't working itself out. I had to constantly get the practice in. Things weren't at their best. You understand? I was trying my hardest in that mixtape era, and people didn't care. They're like, we don't care about that shit. That shit, we want some. It got to be like this. It got to be whatever. People started leaning more towards professionalism because mainstream was taken over at the highest degree around 2010, 2012-ish. You know what I mean? So people wanted a certain thing. They were tired of hearing the amateur shit, but I was like, wait, but I thought y'all wanted the hungry shit. Motherfuckers are picking shoes, so it don't matter what you do, you gotta stay grinding. You understand? You gotta stay grinding. You can sit there and talk about the contentness and stuff. I'm happy to be alive. That's one thing, man. I'm not that hungry aspect anymore. You understand how hungry that was, bro? Being 12, 14 years old, wanting to feed yourself, if not people in your family, because we could barely eat some days. And people are just talking about, like, why don't you be going to parties? Why don't you be doing this shit? I was like, you know how much guilt that would create with myself to be enjoying my life while people are just suffering and dying at home? Motherfuckers pretend to be from the hood, but they ain't going through no hood conditions. All the time. People be claiming hoods and claiming sets and all the time, but y'all ain't about shit, man. Meanwhile, you got families like mine just suffering over here. I'd rather stay locked the fuck in. That's just who I am. And like I said, I'd be saying this a couple times a lot, but I said that shit still haunts me to this day. That's why you see me grinding with the video content. This shit's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Whether it hits right now or later, that's something, man. Imagine if I was videotaping me training as a 12-year-old, me training as a 13-year-old, 14, 15, 16, you know what I'm saying? You just go down the line. Me just training back then. Imagine if you were just documenting that shit, created content out of it, and people are looking back like, man, that's something you used to do. Damn, that's crazy. People just finding old shit. This is shit people gonna find 5 to 10 years down the line, hopefully, and whether it hits, it hits. If it don't, it don't. I got songs and albums that still don't get plays. I got songs and albums that do get played it, and the ones that do get played and all that shit be bringing the money in, man. I don't waste a second no more. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it, bro. Because the thing about it is, if I sat there, it'd be wrong of me to be in a good mindset where, like, I finally got certified for specific jobs, got some money, brought the money in, You know what I'm saying? Paid for family stuff now that I'm older. Like I'm really taking care of shit now that I'm older as much as I can. Like I'm not really taking care of family the way my dad does, but I'm trying to get on that level to some degree. But I'm also trying to invest on the side, trying to become more financially illiterate. A lot of that stuff isn't appealing. Putting in the groundwork isn't appealing. Looking like the product is appealing. You understand? But imagine me just being in that mindset, but excuse me, being in that place, but then selling you the old school mindset. That's not for me necessarily. And I get it though. I get it though, man, because I'll sit there, I'll listen to rappers who are like, they're way past their trapping years, but their albums are still talking about trapping and hustling because I'm still at that level too, even though they're way up here. They're just giving you some reminiscent shit based off their own life. That's all it is. People are doing some reminiscent shit based off their old life, and they can keep selling you that. They can keep flipping that and selling it to you. Like, man, remember those times I was hungry and I was really putting the work in, and then I hustled and I made it happen, and I came up. You can keep selling that. You can keep selling that. You can resell that shit like it's crack. You can turn lyricism into crack. You can turn raps into crack. That's all it is, man. I'd rather just be present. This is who I am right now. I'd rather present that. So when I say the work, man, the work comes in different ways. It looks a lot of different ways. It makes a lot of sense in different ways. It translates in many different ways. It gets across in different ways. But I feel like there's something very important about the work that I'm putting in sometimes, rather than sitting there partying and fucking around all the time. You know? A lot of times you will just sit there and call a bitch all day, man. You will just sit there and call a bitch all day just to, distract yourself, and you won't even be utilizing your time. You'll just be distracting yourself, just messing around all the time. I've been in there before, man. I've been in that position before. It ain't good. It ain't healthy. Shit doesn't get done. I be looking back like some weeks, like, damn, I could have got something done. Here I was fucking with this bitch. That's on me though, because I went that route and I thought that way and I felt that way, and those are the words and the verbiage and the usage. And then I went that way. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to mess around with a bitch. Now life became a bitch. You get what I'm trying to say? Life's a bitch because you wanted to bitch around. Life's a bitch because you were just messing with bitches that meant nothing to you. Not to say that that particular woman's a bitch, but it's just like she knows the bullshit she's on. And I was with the bullshit. That's the funny thing about it. I was with the bullshit. Like I said earlier, back to what Billy Carson was saying, the little small inkling thing that he was talking about. He said very simply, man, your brain, your heart, and your stomach, man, 3 forms of brains to some degree. They all think and operate in their own way. But if those 3 things aren't in sync, certain things in the universe won't come to you, or you'll be inviting the wrong signals. Because you'll be beaming up signals. You'll be resonating signals in 3 different ways. It's like, yeah, there's no concise thing that can invite anything, if that makes sense. You don't have a concise invitation for what it is you want, if not need. If that makes sense. The work aspect is very important to me. That's why I'm harping on it for so long. But let's talk about it. Work or party? We're working and grinding or party. Work or party? Like I said, man, from the time period of being a preteen teenager up until like my 20s and shit, I was just locked in trying to do stuff because I was trying to make it. It was the mindset. I was like, I'm just trying to make it, bruh. I know this feeling in my stomach. There's some nights I'd be hungry, and instead of trying to eat something that would take away from someone else's plate downstairs, I would just sit there and just lock in and write. I was like, every verse I write curbs the hunger. I don't care what nobody says. Every time I put the work in, I would feel less hungry. Sometimes a lot of us are really distracted. This is where the party aspect starts to kick in. A lot of us get really distracted. This is back to the stomach being its own mind and own brain. A lot of us get real distracted, and it's like, I'm over here watching a podcast and learning. I'm over here watching an interview and I'm learning some information, but I can't help but watch this without consuming some snacks or some junk food. So you just want to synchronize, if you will, the brain, the heart, and the stomach. Because that's what happens when those start to peter apart, man. Once you start to lean more towards one than the other, when you start going a little more towards the heart and the stomach, man, you'll start just consuming. You'll consume, and you'll also get real comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You consume and seek comfort, if you will. You'll seek love, sometimes in the worst way. That's where party's at, man. You're around people where you think that they love you. They think they love you in the moment too, man. Everyone's a little drunk, everyone's a little high, so they're just loving the moment, but they don't love you. And sometimes you translate that as love, man. I sat there and I saw people impressed because they saw me pull out big bottle of brown liquor, man. It was some stupid ass Rich and Rare. If it wasn't that, it was like some Black Velvet. And then every now and again, I bring like a bottle of E&J when I get a little classier. I bring a bottle of Hennessy when I started making a little more money. You know, that's the thing right there. That's the thing right there, man. I didn't want to think in no deficits. It was less about impressing people or being eager to impress people, more so like, hey man, let me be impressive, but at the same time, let's make sure everyone has a good time, man. Get a bottle to share, get a fat, rolled up a fat joint, got that to share for a party. Everybody getting a couple hits on that shit, man. We high off of 2 hits, man. We gone. Motherfuckers in the living room baked. We gone. Everybody took like 1 or 2 hits. I'm like, that shit going around in circles. It's like 10 people. I'm like, motherfucker, bruh. What the fuck? But it happens. You don't do that necessarily to impress people, but the point I'm saying is like you're out there having fun. When's the last time you had fun? You doing all this fucking work, you applying yourself, you overthinking, you trying to do for other people, etc. If not trying to do for yourself, get some grounding for yourself. When's the last time that you really, 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 really had fun? What does fun look like to you? Oh, well, people see, that's the problem. You be in your mind so much, you sit there, start rationalizing what fun looks like and sounds like. Oh, fun, man. Fun. I'll just sit there and like uh, take me to the arcade game and play some one-player games. That's fun to me. I'm cool with that. Yeah, that's comfortable fun. That's comfortable fun. But what about just actually collaborating with other human beings and other life forms, man? Acting like you're the only thing in existence that deserves fun for yourself. There's nothing wrong with drinking alone. There's nothing wrong with going to the movies alone. This isn't to judge anyone that does that, because I do that shit. I used to drink alone. I don't drink no more, but I used to drink alone. I used to go to movies by myself. I still will go to movies by myself, honestly. I still will go to movies by myself. But if it's up to me, man, like I'm usually spending time with a girl. I don't be hanging out with dudes. I don't be hanging. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just one of those, bro. I don't be doing that shit. If I'm hanging out with somebody, it's usually like a female or someone like we just got done doing an activity like a Beyblade thing, and we're hanging out afterwards or something. We're just hanging out with a group of friends. But it's not like my main thing to just be reaching out to these people. I reach out to females and shit, man. Like, how you doing? What you doing this week? What you going on this weekend? Let's make something happen. Boom. I ain't hanging out with no like, bro. I don't be doing all that. Like for what? So when's the last time? You know what I'm saying? Like when's the last time you really just kicked it on the party side? It don't necessarily got to be a party. That's the highest extent. When's the last time you really just had fun? You just hung out with people, whether they're dudes or not. That's what I got to ask myself too, man. Because it's like, in my mind, I'm like, man, if it ain't about no work or no whatever kind of stuff, what am I be spending time with this person for? If it ain't business, what's it about? If it's about hanging out, I could just hang out with a woman. That's my mentality, really. Like for what? What are we doing that for? You know, that's just me. That's just me. Like I'd really have to either I grew up with you or we came up back in the childhood. See, that's how I think. There's some people I came up with in childhood and shit, man. I keep in touch with every now and again. Everybody's busy and shit. They got 9 to 5s, if not 9 to 9s and shit. People staying busy, so I ain't got time to really kick it like that. But if you're really deep like that, spent some time together before in the past, whether they're beneath me or above me type shit, whatever. And I'm saying beneath or above me in the sense of like they're doing well financially or they're doing well like just in life in general. I like spending time with people. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, all I'm saying is if I had a choice, bro, but when's the last time I had fun? When's the last time you enjoyed yourself too? You know what I mean? That's the vice versa side of things right here, man. I do want to end it on this, man, because I realize I'm running short on time. I was rambling for a minute. All I really wrote was people in their late 30s and 40s and up. Late 30s, early 40s, but also up. Talking about all the things they regretted to do in their 20s, man. You hear a lot of things, man. There's a lot of people who put a lot of work in. This is where it really, I'm 32, like I said, so I'm not really in this category yet, but I'm getting closer to it. But this is one thing I learned where people will talk about, I really wish that in my 20s I locked in, or excuse me, I did less locking in and more just having fun and enjoying life. You know? Having fun and enjoying life. You see this in the comment section of certain YouTube videos a lot. You even find it when people will ask like an entrepreneur, or just someone who owns like buildings and blocks, they'll be like, what's one thing you regretted? It was like, honestly, man, all the time that I put in doing the work, I also could have just actually spent time with my family, seeing my son's graduation, you know what I'm saying, daughter's first steps, things like that. Where it's like the work doesn't always have to be that important. This is where things get tricky for me, man, because you hear this all the time. People in their late 30s and 40s and up, 50s, 60s, 70s, people who either made it or weren't doing anything at all. You'll run into people who didn't do shit with their life, and they'll tell you they wish they worked more. They wish they worked more. But usually when you'll talk to someone who's a little more successful, usually you'll see someone who has a video on them about them being very successful or something like that. Usually you'll run into that kind of content or that actual person. And when you hear them talk, they'll talk about they wish they spent more time with their loved ones, family. You know what I mean? They wish they were around for certain moments a lot more. I'm of the argument that I'm not sure if it would have made a difference. You know? But also, I'm from the ilk of my dad was always at work all the time. Shit, my dad is even at work right now. This motherfucker's still going to work and shit on a weekend, to my understanding. I actually just ran into this dude, man. I was leaving the house and I was on the way over here to the, you know what I'm saying, the campus over here. I walked past this dude. He said, "Oh yeah, there's a He didn't go to work though. He just went back to work because there was like a baby shower there. They got like a baby shower going on." I was like, "Oh okay, that's why." He just left some random food on the stove. I was like, "What the hell?" But you know, because I'm around someone who works that hard at a 9 to 5. I'm over here working hard 9 to 5, content creation, investing. You see me doing the most. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play that same logic because there's no excuses, man. That's just me. That's just me. You dig? That's the way I'm looking at it. People of those ages, man, sitting there talking about the things they regret, what they wish they would have done. One thing I do want to say too is, man, anyone younger, you got to remember, I'm 32. I never went to prom because I thought it was too cool to be dancing. I also was too shy to be dancing and just socializing and having fun like that. You know, I was one of the people that would just stand up, post up, you know, at the bus stop on the corner type shit. I'm one of those. So I just stand there, post up, you know what I mean, just in the neighborhood. But I was like, I ain't doing all that funny ass dancing shit. Fuck all that. Like I'm not a street dude, but I'm just saying I was just around the neighborhood all the time. But I was like, man, we ain't doing all that. We living life, man. We going to the boxing gym. We writing raps. We keeping it real. We gonna hustle. We gonna do what we gotta do. You know what I'm saying? In a positive way, in a good way, all the time. I've been that way my whole life. Well, I ain't doing no dances, bro. And I will tell you like this, man. When you're 32, there's no way that you can go. There's no way in this area you can go to prom unless you're a fucking chaperone or security guard. So you want to keep track of that too, man. Hold on, I'm running out of time. Let me check the clock. I'm running out of time. Let me leave you with this, man. For anyone that's younger than me, anyone close to my age, just remember there's certain things happening in life right now that pertain to your actual age and things that are happening right now. Does that make sense? You can't turn back the time and sit there and try to do prom in 30s. Fuck that. I wish I missed out. Like I'm more of a outgoing person now, more of a dancing type person now, if you will. Just having fun. I'm more of a having fun type person now. I wish I would have had more fun in my teens, but I also that's who defined who I am now. I wouldn't take it back for anything. I wouldn't, I don't have too many regrets right now. But if anything, I was like, damn, I low-key wish I went to prom with my homegirls and spent some time with them, man. But for whatever reason, I just thought it was a little too cool, a little too whatever for that bullshit. I ain't even be sitting around dancing and shit. Fuck all that. Having fun. Fuck that having fun shit. That's how I felt, bro. That's really on some bullshit. That's crazy as hell. That's crazy as hell. I was acting grown as a kid, man. You don't want to do that shit. Act your, what they say, act your waist size, act your age, you know what I'm saying? So you got to really do that. You got to really do that, man. Little things like that, man. In your 20s, there's certain things in your 20s that you wouldn't be doing in your 40s, man. Motherfuckers sitting around the club looking goofy and shit. Fuck all that. Do things that pertain to your age in the right, proper way, man. Don't be trying to catch up doing some extra shit. That's a whole nother conversation. We might even talk about that next time. Listen, man, we running out of time right there. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace. I'm out.